Hey, yo, what's up? This is Marjorie Ann Argalman, and I am from Bachelor of Science in Criminology Section 3B. So, the content of this vlog is to discuss the life of Rizal. So, the first is the biographical sketches of Rizal. The first aspect that I noticed in Dr. Jose P. Rizal is that he had a humble life. He declined to choose for the luxurious life that many of us had desired. He had led as simple a life as he could even before the Spaniards began to watch him. I believe his parents' action were what caused him to live this way of life. I really believe that one's parents have the most impact over their lifestyle. I realized from studying Rizal's biography how crucial parental involvement in raising moral children. Second is that I observed from Rizal's life is that despite the most challenging situations, he maintained his composure and capacity for logic, and in order to ignite the revolutionary spirit of the Filipino people. He wrote numerous books as part of his advocacy of legal and peaceful Philippine independence. As a devoted man, Rizal did not believe in Catholic concept that salvation was only for Catholics and that outside of Christianity, salvation was impossible, even that Catholics formed only a small minority of the world's and religious committees. He also opposed that the Catholic practice of fasting as sacrifice and the practice of selling religious adornments like crosses, medals, rosaries, and the like to spread the gospel and support the church. He had also criticized the priest for promoting superstitious ideas in the church and in the classroom. It only shows that Rizal has really taken hold of salvation as a free to gift to everyone. And as a politician, Rizal's political philosophy turned out to be the study and implementation of reforms, the expansion of human rights, the instruction in self-government, and the awakening of a spirit of unrest against injustice, violence, and humanity, as well as sensitivity and self-love. Rizal screamed out in favor of the freedom of his own nation and his fellow citizens. In response to his cries and whose he instituted reforms, pleaded his case in paper and bravely voiced his objection to the Spanish colonizers' cruel treatment of the Filipino people. One thing about his life that I learned from it is that he didn't hide under the strong force of the Spaniards. Instead, he allowed himself shine and spoke out on the problem that he and his nation were facing. This could be a passionate desire and determination that nation deserves freedom. So the second one is the pragmatic education of Rizal. So as a young man himself, Rizal saw the importance of education in developing a class of Filipinos who might lead their nation to freedom and self-determination. So learning was essential to knowing oneself. The essence of Rizal's educational philosophy is the provision of proper motivation in order to strengthen and effective social forces that supports education, to establish young people a natural desire to develop their intelligence, and to grant them eternal life. I learned that significance of education in this philosophy as a means of achieving achievement for both my own personal goals and those of my nation. I made this reflection because as a reminder to myself that education should not only take place in the limits of classrooms, but also extend to all corners of the world because there is sufficient desire to learn and explore by wisdom. Every person should reflect on Rizal's view that awakening every Filipino youth's intrinsic desire to improve his intelligence is such a great thing. His educational accomplishments supported his educational philosophy and gave him the authority to advocate for such a strategy for academic achievement. This gave a solid endorsement to his educational philosophy. So, education can also result in greater lifestyle decision due to more accurate health attitudes and knowledge, as well as better skills and increased self-advocacy. And I believe that education enhances cognitive ability, cultivates useful habits, and improves literacy skills. So, the third one is the travels, frustrations, and disappointments of Rizal. So, in May 3, 1982, Rizal left the Philippines for the first time to Spain. This was his first trip abroad and his secret mission. He also get the best education he could find and answer his life question. What could he do to help his oppressed motherland? He has to study in Madrid, but this plan was kept secret. Hunted by enemies and treated by friars, Rizal was forced to leave Philippines for the second time. It was February 1888 then. Rizal at 27 was an frustrated reformer. On February 3, 1888, after 6 months of stay in Calamba, Rizal left Manila for Hong Kong on board the Zafiro. He was sad and sick during the crossing of the choppy China Sea in 1891. Rizal traveled to France, Belgium, and Madrid to seek the solace of for his disappointments in Madrid. There, Rizal had a serious romance with Nell. Unfortunately, their romance beneath the lovely Biarritz moon did not have a happy fairy tale finale. It is because Rizal's marriage proposal failed for some reasons. It led Rizal's frustration in romance. Many will suffer, including any idealistic young guy. He was undoubtedly disappointed by Spanish colonialist, the Catholic Church, and the destitution he experienced, along with almost all Filipino expats in Europe. But I think what makes experience along with almost I think that what makes Rizal stand out the most in his palpable frustration with Filipinos who lack his level of discipline and commitment. Rizal stood out even among his fellow propagandists as a young man on a mission, and at times it irritated him that some of others seemed to be less committed to the cause. While some Spaniards, particularly the friars, were mercilessly attacked in his writings, some of his most memorable satire was directed at other Filipino who had sold out to the colonialist. We can all experience frustration in life, but this is especially true for individuals who are dedicated to making a difference in the world but discover that others, including our friends and allies, don't share our passion. So, the fourth one, we will going to discuss the unexiled life of Rizal. So, difficulties are not the reasons to give up, but an inspiration to move on. I heard this praise and I think this was on the mind of Dr. Jose P. Rizal when he was in the pit and exile. Even though the Spanish attempted to endanger him, he never stopped fighting for the sake of his country. on July 17, 1892, the day when his exile began in the Pitan, where he suffered, harassed, and threatened his life by the Spaniards. His nationalism, love for his family, the people of the Pitan, and the place where his happiness occurred when all increased by this exile. He built schools for the children in the Pitan, making him an example to them. In addition, he provided his students with free instructions in swimming, boxing, wrestling, and arnis. In very honest gesture, Rizal also provided free medical care and medication to the underprivileged. In the Pitan, he also had surgery on his mother eye. His life was endangered while he was in the Pitan by Florencio Namanan, or known as Pablo Mercado. And this is when Rizal displayed his prowess in martial arts. In the Pitan, he also met Josephine Bracken, who would eventually become his wife. Father Antonio Obac denounced the couple's connection and criticized Rizal personally. That experience inspired him love Josephine even more, and she later became pregnant. But unfortunately, the pregnancy endangered in miscarriage. To, inf- to inform Rizal about the Katipunan's objectives, to which he had protested, Dr. Pio Valenzuela traveled to the Pitan. The exile of Rizal ended on July 31, 1896. I really admired his community projects in the Pitan, which included a water system and lighting infrastructure that made people's lives easier. In the Pitan, where he rose to fame, he also worked as a farmer, businessman, scientist, and inventor. Rizal is different. He would not wish for a place where he will not be able to do anything for his country. Even in his exile state, he managed to build a house, a clinic, where the poor and the rich are welcome. So the last one is the justice and death of Rizal. My last farewell, Mi Ultimo Adios in Spanish, was the last poem that Rizal wrote. In it was Mariano Ponce, his friend, who gave title to this poem. Being a hero doesn't require special abilities like being lightning or invisible. A hero is someone who stands up for their loved ones, friends, and family. Yes, Dr. Jose P. Rizal is a hero because he shows to others that Filipinos' capacity for freedom via his intelligence and creativity. He fights for our liberties. He defends our rights. He fights for our intelligence and creativity. He fights for our survival. He fights for us all. He gave everything up, including his life. That describes a Filipino. We will do anything, everything necessary to achieve our goals because we will stop at nothing to protect those who we love much like Dr. Jose Rizal. We are all heroes. Dr. P. Rizal once said that one only die once, and if one does not die well, a good opportunity is lost and will not present itself again. So, this is related to articles of death, and death is inevitable. But Jose Rizal's strong words about dying makes a lot of sense. Why we need to live and die well. This was part of his letter to Mariano Ponce in 1890. So, that's all guys, and we will meet again to my next vlog. Bye-bye.